Hello, welcome back everyone to Sama Saturday. We're so excited to have you all here. This is a very special show today, so we're all jazzed up on this end, and we hope you are too. Sama Saturday is a weekly show by Sama Dog that focuses on holistic health and natural lifestyle for our dogs and our human selves as well. So we love to each weekend move through a variety of topics that apply to an array of areas of our animals' life and wellness and connection with them because we love them so much, and these conversations help them to live longer, happier lives. I am here in person with Dr. Katie Kangas, so I can hug her and squeeze her on the line. Usually, as you know, those who follow us, we're in different locations, and so it's very nice to have her here in the Sama studio. And we are on the line with Dr. Steve Farrar, our doctor, sorry about that, Steve Farrar. Let me pronounce your name correctly. And we are joined with him to talk about Mushroom Matrix, his company. He is the co-founder, along with Sandra Carter, who will be joining us in just a little while. And Steve is a wealth of knowledge. I will give him a little bit more of a formal introduction here in just a moment. But let me share first, what is it that we're talking about? Why are we bringing Mushroom Matrix forward, and why is this such an important conversation? So who are the highest quality certified 100% organic functional mushroom powders that provide immune support, sports performance, and recovery for horses, pets, and people? And Steve, I didn't realize that your company focused as much on horses as it does, so that's something we definitely would love to talk about today as well. So Steve Farrar is a mycologist with over 30 years of experience and expertise in growing mushrooms. And his co-founder, the co-founder of the company, his partner in crime and mushroom crime is Sandra Carter. She's an integrative health and wellness expert with a master's in exercise physiology, a master's in public health, and a PhD in preventative medicine. So as you can see, we are here with the experts because beside me is Dr. Katie Kangas, an amazing holistic veterinarian. She has a beautiful clinic, the Integrative Veterinary Care in Sorrento Valley here in San Diego. You guys know probably that Dr. Kangas, joins us once a month for our Sama Saturdays and brings forward so much great information and connections. So that's what today is all about. Mushrooms are a hot item. Everybody's talking about them these days. Everywhere I go, in some way, shape, or form, touching onto so many different areas of our lives. So I will stop talking and turn it over to the experts now, because that's what we really want to hear from. So thank you, Steve, for being with us. Thank you, Sandra, ahead of time. And thank you, Dr. King.
Absolutely. As always, it's my pleasure to be here and in person this time with Amanda, but to be connecting with all of you and sharing great information. And as most of you know, as a holistic practitioner, holistic veterinarian, I really like to focus a lot on using food as medicine, and mushrooms fit that bill beautifully. So that's our topic for today. I've been using medicinal mushrooms, recommending them in my practice for years. I had the wonderful opportunity to have Steve Farrar, who is a mycologist, so he's an expert in mushrooms, and he came to my practice a few years ago and actually did a wonderful presentation for my staff, my team, and myself, so we could learn even a little more depth about the beneficial health properties that mushrooms offer for all species, okay? And you just heard a little bit about, I don't work with horses, but I do know a little bit about from learning mostly from Steve what it does for horses, but certainly I use it a lot in dogs and cats. And the wonderful thing is all of this information applies to, of course, us humans as well. And interestingly, in my practice, we do carry the complete mushroom line from Mushroom Matrix. And for the human products, it's actually organic mushroom. This is one of the human products that I take, actually. There it is for the camera. And we carry a lot of the specific formulas for the dogs in our practice. But the neat thing is, because as I get to educate people about what these products do for their pets, they learn about what they do for themselves. So lo and behold, we actually carry the human products in our practice as well. And a lot of people will pick up mushrooms for themselves while they're picking up mushrooms for their pets. So, and even though Mushroom Matrix doesn't make a specific line for cats, a lot of cats will easily eat these mushrooms. They're powdered, and they don't need much. I mean, cats like 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon once a day in the food. So many kitties will actually eat this too. And Steve can give us a little more information as we go along on some of the therapeutic or health properties of mushrooms. But just to lay a quick foundation, I think Amanda mentioned it a little bit in the intro, mushrooms really offer so many different health benefits, and many people may already know that they're really looked at as an immune booster. So a lot to do with the immune system, which of course is an integral piece of everyone's health. So keeping the immune system strong is always beneficial for our pets and ourselves, and mushrooms are phenomenal at that. A lot of people know they have anti-cancer properties too, and so many people that come to me, I see, of course, a lot of pet patients with cancer. It's one of the special health conditions that I work with a lot. And a lot of people are asking about mushrooms to treat their pets with cancer. So that's something that, comes up a lot. And then just numerous benefits to mushrooms, including things like containing digestive enzymes, antioxidants, minerals, prebiotics. And a big thing that I like to share with people is that mushrooms are also a wonderful food source of vitamin D, natural vitamin D. And low vitamin D is just as much of a I have no idea for horses, but dogs and cats have just as much issue with being low in vitamin D right now as people. And the significance of that is when the body has low levels of vitamin D, there is more inflammation. So it is linked to all chronic inflammatory patterns, all diseases. If you have low vitamin D, you're going to have more issues with inflammation and therefore, heading into a disease or a health condition. So I really like to promote vitamin D rich foods for our pets and for ourselves. And again, mushrooms fits that bill too. So lots of fun things that we can talk about, but that's just a quick overview of why I like them so much. One other thing I'll add in really quick is these types of mushrooms that we're going to discuss today are plants that have been included in Chinese medicine herbal formulas for centuries. Okay, and of course I'm Chinese medicine trained and I do acupuncture on dogs and cats, and I use a lot of Chinese herbs, and a lot of herbal formulas will contain these medicinal mushrooms like reishi and shiitake and cordyceps and turkey tail and many lion's mane, many of these things that we'll bring up. So I was very familiar with them in my herbal training, but they also, of course, are a food and a superfood at that. So that's, I guess, completing my little intro, and then we can direct the conversation towards Steve or any other specific details.
Yeah. That sounds great. Yes, Steve, take it away and let us know if there's anything you want to fill into what we've shared already, and then carry forth, and definitely sharing with us how Mushroom Matrix started, how you and Sandra got going.
Well, what a wonderful intro. My God.
I'm drinking them right now in my morning drink, just so you know.
Yeah, well, bottoms up there. Yeah. Well, yes, I've been growing mushrooms, like you mentioned, for over 30 years. The first, I would say, 20 years of it was growing mushrooms as a fresh produce item for the dinner table. And I didn't grow the common button mushroom. That's kind of the white bread of the mushroom. Well, I focus more on the so-called exotic species, things like maitake and hinoki, shimeji, king trumpet. And over the years, I got more interested in the medicinal ones that you wouldn't necessarily eat for dinner, but had significant not only nutritional qualities, but medicinal qualities, functional qualities. Mushrooms like shiitake and maitake and lion's mane, they're culinary mushrooms, but they also, in addition to their culinary nutritional properties, they also have some very strong medicinal qualities. Other mushrooms like reishi, turkey tail, and trodia, other species, you'd never want to eat them for dinner. They're bitter, they're fibrous, they're not culinary, but they are very potent in terms of their medicinal function. I started the present incarnation of the company with Dr. Sandra Carter back in 2010, and I'd met her at a medicinal conference in a biotech conference in San Diego. and started talking about her about the functional qualities of mushrooms. And she'd been working in many of the health conditions that mushrooms can help with. There's not very good solutions in the pharmaceutical medical world. And so it really interested her that she'd been working with these public health issues for her career and not having very good solutions. And so she like mushrooms tend to do, you dip your foot into the mushroom world and you get drawn in, and it doesn't let you go. It really it kind of grabs a hold of you, and it's an underappreciated field of study. There's very few mycologists in the world, and the kingdom fungus, mushrooms belong to their own kingdom. It's one of the largest kingdoms out there. It's probably anywhere from 5 to 15 species of fungi for every plant on planet Earth. Yet there's way more botanists and mycologists in this world. So it's really underappreciated. You go to a college textbook, and a lot of times in a biology textbook, there might be 20 pages devoted to the kingdom fungi. It's just really lopsided, but we're finally starting to catch on that this is really a whole kingdom of life that deserves a lot of attention. And in the Western world, we're a bit behind the 8 ball. There are a couple of terms, mycophil and mycophobe. Mycophil are people that embrace the idea of mushrooms and fungus, and it's part of their culture and their life. And that is like China, Japan, and Korea. They know how good mushrooms are. Even many of the Eastern European countries. In the United States, we kind of are a little bit afraid of mushrooms. They're transitory. They come up mysteriously. They disappear quickly. Most of their activity is below ground. We don't see what's going on. We don't know if they're going to be good to eat. Are they going to poison us? Are they going to kill us? Are they going to make us high? Are they going to taste good or not? So it's a mysterious world, but it's the same thing basically in the plant world. There's poisonous plants out there as well. You just have to know what you're working with.
Yeah. That's a good point. There are probably, a number of dog owners that, do have maybe that reservation about mushrooms because they may live in parts of the country or the world where there, may be some exposure outdoors to poisonous, species. But I didn't really have I have not had any clinical interaction with mushroom toxicity at all. So it's not something that was ever like a fear factor for me, but I know there are some people that may. The other thing I wanted to bring up when I think is really a neat topic within what you said is mushrooms and fungi have been underappreciated in this whole world, in this ecosystem of all these important plants and things in our system. And just to relate that a little bit to the body's microbiome, that's a topic that I talk about a lot, our pet's microbiome and ours being the ecosystem of microbes in the body that are beneficial, that keep us in balance and keep our immune system. And the interesting note in our topic today is that not only does that include bacteria, but it includes fungi. So our own microbiome and our dogs and our cats' microbiome include fungi in that ecosystem of microbes. So that's really neat to portray that for everybody.
Yes, definitely. And in terms of some people are definitely afraid of mushrooms and leery of them. And particularly in the veterinary world, it was almost a paradigm shift. Most veterinarians, not so much in San Diego, where there's not that many, we're dry and there's not that many wild mushrooms for a dog to eat. In the wetter parts of the country, most veterinarians, their experience has been with mushroom poisoning. And if you go on the online search, dogs and mushrooms, what'll first come up is poisonous mushrooms and how to treat toxicities. Well, there are poisonous ones out there, but there are also ones that are wonderful healing, great food and great functional ingredients. We started out the company really focusing on an equine line of products. We were selling our mushroom powders to $1 million thoroughbred racehorses, 100 jumpers. It was kind of like a proof of concept almost, is that horses with a job, so to speak, are a good laboratory. The owners monitor everything coming in, everything coming out, their performance, their recovery, and we got some very good results with it. We even had a Kentucky Derby winner back in 2007. And kind of what evolved out of that is the horse owners were seeing that it worked with the horses. I thought, well, it's probably going to work for me. So they wanted to test them on themselves before they gave it. They were willing to be the guinea pigs before they fed it to their dear horses. So the human line kind of evolved after the equine line, and then the dog line came after that.
And
So
the dog line after that.
definitely.
Uh-huh. And it's worth noting right now, I think you all saw on the packages when we showed it, but the human line is OM, standing for Organic Mushroom Nutrition.
OM. Mushrooms are our mantra. We just learned from Steve, and we love that. We're taking that tagline and we're running with it.
Yeah. To be part of every Sama Saturday going forward. And then the dog line is Canine Matrix. You'll just see the label here so you guys know how to identify it. And then there's Equine Matrix as well.
Right. And I will just show too, I know Steve has some products behind him, but I love to give information and handouts to my clients all the time. So here is the one from Canine Matrix line, and I'll just briefly show there's several different formulas within the canine specific products, and then several formulas, of course, for the human products. And this is just a really quick little diagram that I love to show people when they're in my office when I'm talking about mushrooms, because it just, in a quick glance, I love this part of their handout, shows you all the beneficial health properties that mushrooms offer. So that's a nice little quick view to give you a good scope of the benefits.
And I want to invite all of you that are on the line watching and listening and learning to engage. Let us know that you're here, first of all, where you're watching from, who you're watching with. Maybe it's a furry friend. Maybe you have your horse with you because they heard about the equine formula. Let us know who's there. And, of course, if you have any questions, put them in below. Type them in. We'll come to them. We'll talk a little bit more about kind of the overview, and then we'll come to your questions. If you're willing to share this out with the world as well, of course, this is the way the good word spreads, and amazing products that can change animals' lives and humans' lives get around to being in their homes in this way, because this message goes right there to them so they can listen to that all around the world. So thank you for being part of that.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you. And we do we do grow these mushrooms here locally, right here in Carlsbad. We're a vertically oriented company. We grow them, we process them, we package them here. We don't outsource any of the process. We grow 11 different species. We process them into a powder so that they're easy to consume, easy to take on a daily basis. That was one of the reasons really I went from the fresh mushrooms to the powdered mushrooms, because these mushrooms are best taken on a daily basis. And we have to cook, find, prepare a mushroom. It can tend to be, you don't do it on a daily basis. In a powder form, it's very easy to incorporate, not only in your daily regime of smoothies or soup or oatmeal, but also with the pet.